we had a mission to do. We met with Colonel Davis prior to leaving Lockbourne, and we had a meeting, and we talked, and his final remark was, if you don't win, don't come back. So that was our incentive to win. I'm James H. Harvey III, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force, retired. I was born in Montclair, New Jersey, and I was raised in northeastern Pennsylvania. I tried to enlist in the Army Air Corps in January of '43, and they said they weren't taking enlistments at that time. That was the height of the war. Anyway, I said, okay. Then I was drafted into the Army in March of '43. Went to Fort Meade, Maryland, took my exam, a written exam, physical, got my shots. Then they sent me to Jefferson Barracks, Missouri for basic training. And I finished my basic training. And based on my scores that I made on my written exam at Fort Meade, they put me in the Army Air Corps. Army Air Corps engineers, driving bulldozers, graders, carryalls. My mission was to go into the jungles of the Pacific, doze out an area, build an airfield for aircraft to land on. And we used to go out and practice every day in a little town called Accotink in Virginia. And I said, no, this isn't for me. So I applied for cadet training. There were 10 of us, 9 whites and myself. And when the dust cleared, 2 of us passed. And from there, they sent me to Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Field, for 30 days of basic training. Then from there to Tuskegee, and the rest is history. Primary training, all of our instructors were black, and their job was to teach us primary training, plus condition us and get us ready to meet our basic and advanced instructors who were white. And number one, they didn't care for us to start off with, and they were going to wash us out, do their best to wash us out. So after we finished primary, I was at Moton Field, which was owned by the Tuskegee Institute. It's called Tuskegee University today. And then from there, we went to Tuskegee Army Airfield. Tuskegee Army Airfield, we had basic and advanced training. Now, the white pilots, each phase of their training, they went to a different airfield. But since things were segregated, well, we did everything right there in Tuskegee. I finished my combat training at Walter Barrow, South Carolina in April of '45. And I had my bags packed within a 1-hour catch in the train, and we got a message saying to hold us. The war in Italy was over, and they expected to wind up the whole European theater, which they did the following month of April. Hitler threw in the towel. He heard Harvey was coming. So from there, I went to Godman Field, Kentucky, and that's where I joined the 99th Fighter Squadron. Word came down from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, or Army Air Corps, the Air Force, that they were going to hold a weapons meet. And each fighter group was to have weapons training, and each squadron was to compete against each other, and naturally each pilot was to see how good he was. And we, the 332nd, had been to Eglin 7 a month before, so we had scores. So based on our scores, Captain Temple of the 301st, I should say, First Lieutenant Harry Stewart of the 100th, and myself of the 99th, We were chosen as primary members, and First Lieutenant Halbert Alexander of the 99th, he was chosen as an alternate member. And that was our team. Well, I didn't know them, period, until we got together as a team. And they were in other squadrons. And I barely knew everyone in the squadron I was in, let alone the other squadrons. But we had a mission to do. We met with Colonel Davis prior to leaving Lockbourne, and we had a meeting, and we talked, and his final remark was, if you don't win, don't come back. So that was our incentive to win. We were very confident. We knew we were good, plus Colonel Davis said, if you don't win, don't come back. And we had family there. But we were confident. We had Captain Riley, who was a pilot, and he was a red tail. He was our maintenance officer, and also the liaison between our fighter group and the rules committee. And he was supposed to go to the rules committee and sit in and give them his input, but they didn't want to hear anything he had to say. They just shut him out. So when he got back to the ramp, the enlisted people asked him how the meeting went, and he told them, so that ticked them off. And then when we got there, we asked him, and he told us, and that ticked us off. So now you have a ticked-off fighter group. So we said, okay, we'll show them. The events were aerial gunnery at 12,000 feet, aerial gunnery at 20,000 feet, dive bombing, skip bombing, rocket firing, and panel strafing. Our competitors were flying P-51s and F-82s, and we were flying the obsolete P-47. It was obsolete, but it was still a good aircraft. Okay, the first day we had aerial gunnery at 12,000 feet. At the end of the day, we were leading. We were number one, and Captain Temple was high individual. Now they're going to give out 2 trophies, one for high individual and one for high group. Okay, the next day we have 2 missions at 20,000 feet. Here again, at the end of the day, Captain Temple is leading as high individual, and we're leading as a group. Now let me explain what a mission is. A mission, you're fully loaded with ammunition and fuel. You take off, you fly to the target area, expend your ammunition, come back, and land. That's a mission. Okay. So we had 2 missions at 12,000 feet and 2 missions at 20,000 feet. Okay, the next day we have dive bombing. Dive bombing, you come over your target about 12,000 feet, roll over, drop straight down, line up on the target, drop your bombs, and pull out. The next day we have rocket firing. Rocket firing, we carry 2 rockets, 3 missions, 3 pilots, so each pilot fires 6 rockets. So we come in the targets, we fire our 6 rockets. At the end of the day, we're leading as high individual as a group, and Temple is leading as high individual. The next day we have skip bombing. Now in skip bombing, you come in real low to the ground, your propeller clearing the ground by about a foot, and you release your bombs. You're so low that your bomb doesn't have a chance to nose over it, so it hits flat and skips through the target. Okay, at the end of the day, we're leading as a group. Captain Temple is leading as high individual. The next day is panel strafing, which is the last event. And here you come in on your target, about a 30-degree angle. You fire your guns, and your bullets go through the target. And we had 2 missions of this. And at the end of the day, Captain Temple was leading as high individual. We were leading as a group. Now, let me back up. Before we start this last mission, one of the rules of the meet was, if you abort, your team members take off, their score is counted, and yours is 0. Okay. At this point, we've got a lock on the meet. And there's a man in a P-51 pilot in a P-51 outfit who's close behind Temple. So he had to abort. They gave him another airplane. They broke the rules because the rule was if you abort, your team members take off, yours score is 0. You don't go. Yours isn't counted. Anyway, they gave him another airplane, which was wrong. Now, this is my thought. His score was so high, I think they gave him extra bullets. Anyway, he aced Captain Temple out of high individual. But we scored high as a group. So we won the meet. However, the Air Force Association puts out a magazine once a month. Once a year they put out an almanac. One of the items in the almanac are the winners of the 1949 weapons meet through present day. Each year when the almanac came out, the winner of the 1949 weapons meet was listed as unknown, unknown, unknown. Finally, in 1993, my group commander called me. He was a Colonel William Campbell, called me and asked me if I had any data on the meet. I told him no, I didn't have any. Maybe Stewart did. So I called Stewart. Stewart said he didn't have it. He could probably find what he was looking for at Nellis. So I went to Nellis. He found what he was looking for, presented it to the Air Force. And as of April of 1995, it shows the 332nd as the winner of the 1949 weapons meet. 46 years. They knew who won. They just didn't want to recognize us as being the winners. And we had a big 3-foot solid silver trophy. I have a replica behind me. Somehow that got lost. We have a lady in Atlanta. Her name is Zellie Orr. She's an historian. She made it her mission to find it. She found it in 5 days at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Museum storage area. So she went to Wright-Pat. She saw the trophy, and she says, "Why isn't this on display?" I said, "We got a lot of items in, and we can't display everything, and this item will never be on display." Well, it is on display. When you go out of the gift shop into the museum at Wright-Pat, you look about 140 degrees to your right, you can see it. It's on display with the Tuskegee Airmen display. 55 years in hiding. That's the story of our life.